Hey YouTube, Cave Dweller 1959 here. Going to shoot you one more video. Going to talk about some acid etching of knives. I'm going to try to answer some questions that viewers left on some other videos that I've had. I thought I covered bases, but it's obvious I didn't. And when I go back and watch some of the stuff, it's also obvious. What I'm going to do is the same. Russell Green River, high carbon steel. There's no stainless, there's nothing here. I'm going to do this one. I've already scaled it. Everything in the past has been just the blank. The scales went on after the fact. I do that for the purpose of, you already have a knife in your kitchen, you want to do this to it, go ahead. It does not have, the ferric chloride solution that we're going to use has no effect on wood whatsoever. Your scales will already be sealed. It does not eat through your varnish. Whatever you have for a sealer on there, it does nothing. They are epoxy glued, no effect, has absolutely nothing. What it has an effect on is metal. That's what we're going to work on up here. I'm going to dip it right up to the wood. There's going to be a little bit of wood in there, so I got 100% coverage from here forward. And if you want to see the wood first, this is a piece of bacote. Kind of nice looking, cut some finger grooves in it. The typical 3 rivets like I usually use. This is black. These blades come, they're very, very high gloss, polished out, very shiny. Paint does not stick very well at all to them. That's why I take them, I dip them for about 5 to 10 minutes in the same solution. We're going to do it later, the ferric chloride 50-50 mixed with tap water. That gives you, it cuts the edge on there, it cuts the shine. Paint sticks really, really well. It almost has to be done that way. You might have some better paint than I do, so be it. I've already got one half painted. I'm going to try to do the other side. I'm going to try to get it as close as I can get. It's not going to be exact. Don't worry about it. You don't want them exact. I don't anyway. I'm going to do a vine pattern. For other things and knives I've had, I started here and took them this way. I'm coming this way, kind of going with the flow of the blade, trying to see what it looks like when I'm done. That said, let's do some painting. What I use, plain old model airplane paint. This is Testors. It's acrylic. You can get it at your Kmart, Walmart, whatever you got in your town. It's not hard to come by. It's probably about 89 cents for this little bitty jar, which is going to last you a long time. I already got one side done, like I said. I don't know if you have one of these things. I took a picture of it. I got it right there. And that's going to be my pattern when I try doing the other side. Kind of cheating, huh? Oops, bouncing the hell out of things. If I get a little bit later, show you a close-up of this pick, you can see there's some air bubbles. Hell, I'll show you right now. If you can see this thing, right through here there's some air bubbles. I believe that was caused from shaking the paint up and not letting it set. If you're going to shake it, you haven't mixed it, you haven't stirred it for a long time or whatever case is, shake it up the day before, the night before you're going to do this. Let it set. When you're ready to paint, take your paintbrush, stir it up. Try to keep the air bubbles out of it. I had to take this one, and after it was dry, the paint bubbles showed up like that, the air bubbles, excuse me. I went over the whole thing again, cover them up. If you do not, the ferric chloride will go through every one of those bubbles and you'll have a pit. Not good. Having that picture right there, like I said, it's kind of like cheating. We're going to come back to about right here where I'm going to end my first line. It's going to look nothing like it does on the other side. because I've already taken the X-Acto knife and finished the other side. But when we are done, it'll be good. Okay, we got it all painted in. Remember this side, the first side, it's all, I've taken the X-Acto knife and scratched out everything I don't want, got my general flow, got the lines. They're all about maybe 1/8 of an inch thick, a little wider up the top. That's the way they grow, that's the way they go. Over here looks nothing like it. It's just paint on there. We're going to have to do a lot of cleanup, a lot of trimming, a lot of cutting, scratching if you want to go that route. And it's just time consuming. It's not very hard, not very difficult. Just make them 3/16 inch thick lines down to 1/8. You know, if you can put a little more curve in them, take some off of this side on the end and here in the middle. Whatever works. It's not very hard to do. Okay, I'm thinking I got everything done the way I want it. Got it cleaned up. Got all the shapes, all the design. Last thing we're going to do, plain old rubbing alcohol. You've been handling this thing. You have oil and grease on your fingers, whatnot. Just going to take it and give it a once over. Alcohol is a solvent. You are going to lose a little paint. You don't want to sit there and work it over too darn much. Not too bad. We're going to let that dry and get everything ready to go. We're going to put her in the solution. All right, we're halfway through the etch already. Not much to really look at right now, but that's why I didn't show you the beginning of it. That's what we're using, Radio Shack PCB etchant solution. It's a ferric chloride solution. Read the ingredient: water, ferric chloride, ferrous chloride, and hydrochloric acid. That's why I highly recommend some way, if that is to get spilled, some way to trap that. 5-gallon bucket, ice cream pail, depending on what kind of depth, what kind of height you need. This is a long knife, so what I'm using is basically a pop bottle with the top cut off. You can use this about twice if you mix it 50-50. You get 2 good etches out of it. After that, it starts losing its horsepower. And I just keep that around. That's what I dipped the knife in originally to take off the high gloss, give it that matte so the paint sticks. We're about 25 minutes into this. One more thing, your tap water, run it as hot as your hot water can run. You want this stuff warm. If you're a sloppy, clumsy kind of guy, prone to getting stuff on you, I'd recommend rubber gloves. You see there's going to be a black residue showing up. You can see you're just wiping the steel right off it. So I say it's been 30 minutes. We got a good etch going. I'm going to run it into the kitchen, run it into the sink under running water. I'm just going to wash that residue off there. We're going to put it back in there for a while. We're about 30 minutes into the second dip. I think we got more than enough. You can't really tell by looking that there's anything gone. There's maybe 3/4 thousandths, 10 thousandths of an inch both sides, you know, 5 thousandths a side. It's very light, but it does show up rather well. We're going to clean this all up, and we're going to take steel wool and start polishing it out. Just took her outside with the acetone, took the paint off of it. That's what she's looking like, steel wooling it out right now. It looks like it's pretty deep. I just checked it with the micrometer. Right here where there's no etching done, it's dead on the money, 10 thousandths of an inch thinner than it was an hour or two ago. Very easy to clean up. That's what they look like when they still got some red residue that comes right off the steel wool. That's what you're done. What you got when you're finished. I'm going to finish this bugger up. I'll show you some pictures of it. What we're going to do, stuff right here by Walk-On Bay. It's called True Brown. I use that to put a slow rust finish on my muzzle loaders when I make them. Notice this here is still shiny because nothing happened. We're going to take a Q-tip, and that has no effect on wood either. We're going to go right around this handle. We're going to put a slow rust finish on it. We're going to do the same thing on the blade. That's all there is to it. Acid etching. Okay, we have got her done after about 2 days of the Walk-On Bay True Brown on nothing more than a small piece of, used to be a cotton ball. Hit your shank, hit your blade around the scales. Get this to darken up. You don't want this real shiny, this brown. It's going to look kind of squirrely. You notice it has no effect on wood, just like the dip has no effect on wood. That's what she's going to look like when you're done. That side is just brown. This side, just to give you a different. I don't know how well it's going to show up. The vine pattern is actually high. Everything else is etched down. Flat block, 220 grit sandpaper. Just start to take back the finish off there, kind of give it a highlighted look. I don't know what kind of view that camera is going to catch on this, but you can see the ribs down the back. Maker mark, brand. Just a vine pattern on a good old style butcher knife. Some Bacote, which came out pretty darn good, I think. Finger grooves, you notice I cut them at a slight angle. Your hand is in cutting mode. They are not straight across, they are like that. Fits like a glove. I'm not very good left-handed, but it even, you can tell they're in there, it isn't bad. One last note, this has got a forced finish patina on it using this. If you're going to use this thing all the time, I wouldn't put nothing on it for a finish. Let Mother Nature stain it and color it the way she's going to do it best. If you want to go this route and you do not want any rust taken over on it, something you'll never see. I've never seen anybody ever do it, talk about it on YouTube. All I talk about is rust, rust, rust. Slight coat of wax. This is gun stock wax. I'm sure car wax would be the same thing. Let's give it a coat of wax. I had a knife made out of this stuff in my boat all last summer. Use it for cutting up bait, everything else, basically on the water at least once a week, if not twice. It wasn't any worse for wear at the end of the summer, and it was in the beginning. I gave it one coat of wax. The stuff works wonders. Anyway, that's what they look like. That's acid etching. Acid etching 101. Thanks a lot, YouTube. I've been on for 1 year. I've got just about 995 subscribers. You've been very, very good to me. Thank you much.